Hey everybody, welcome to the TED Show, episode 5, live on Monday, August 14th, with my friend Dave Fraser, who says his name. I've never said it right in 35 years, have I?
Not really, no, but everybody says it differently.
I say Fraser, but what is it?
Pronounced correctly is Fraser, but...
And where did Fraser, and I'm looking to make sure the live feed comes up, where did Fraser come from?
It's of Scottish descent. It's a Fraser clan.
So. All right, and see, nothing's coming up, so I don't know if I can see your questions. Charnel's here to help me with everything. I'll let her do that. Oh, look, people are on. Thank you, guys. Here you go, honey. So Charnel was here again. Thank God. You can see her sort of in the corner to help me, because I had to do it all by myself with Bobby on Friday.
I will not be calling you Teddy B.
No Teddy B. Wow, look at my teeth. They're like Ross from Friends when he has the white teeth thing. What's happening there? So David came on. He was kind enough to come on. Actually, the reason he came on is so he could get on before Brian Russi gets on. I mean, that's kind of the goal, right? We love you, Brian.
I told Ted if he got if Brian Russi was on before me, then I would burn his house down. So it's,
And he has the power and the wherewithal to do it. I've known him for 35 years. So our story, oh look, there it is, sort of. So our story is that we met. I got hired to be, I guess a seasonal employee is what it started out. November of 1982 at Musicland at Fashion Square Mall, which is no longer, I guess.
It's still there, but nothing's open. You're right.
It was the 80s, so think Michael Jackson, Pat Benatar, Thriller. We had some awesome music back then. Yeah, Born in the USA.
Prince, Purple Rain.
Yeah. And David got hired around the same time. He went to Boo, and I went to Colonial, which I don't really like to admit Colonial, but it was a great school when I went there, so no problem there. And we became friends, and I stayed there for 3 years. How long were you there?
I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I left, and I actually came back as a seasonal for just one Christmas season.
I have no recollection of that.
Yeah, I came back and worked with just managers we knew, but I left there and went to.
So is it crazy that I don't remember what I had for lunch, but I remember Ted Peters, Chris Booth, Jim Ivey, and Ken Cross,
and
maybe?
PJ LaBalbo.
Oh, yeah, PJ.
LaBalbo, yeah.
See, when I think of these stories, these are things I can't share on the show right now.
We won't be talking about any of those stories.
No, David and I actually made a pact that we wouldn't be talking about anything that happened between 1982 and 1985-ish. But, so post-85, so we had a great time there. Musicland was awesome. I mean, I still have albums and demos that I have from that time that I kept that are probably worth a ton of money.
Unfortunately, I didn't see and I got rid of about 10 cases of albums, and I sold it in a garage sale for about 25 cents each.
No way.
I could have taken them to Retro Records.
You should have totally taken them.
Yeah.
Hi, Pam. Hi, Kelly. Hi, you guys. People are saying hi. So I kept, I have a Michael Jackson picture disc with the original liner notes from Thriller. I mean, I could sell that and maybe pay for today's bar tab. Cheers, but it's really cool to still have it.
Well, what's amazing is that a lot of people that are watching or will be watching might not even know what vinyl is.
Oh, I think it's making a comeback. You can now buy a plug-in phonograph. What do they call them? Record player.
Both my girls have vinyl record players now.
And I think most DJs like to actually do
better for mixing.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole mixing thing. Yeah. Anyway, so that was our history. We still remained friends after that whole thing. Went through all of our college insanity, getting married, the crazy times of having kids. David's oldest Madison's going to Florida State next week. So his first baby off to college, which is amazing. And then the twins are starting high school.
Yep,
they started today.
They started Olympia this morning. Alarm clock went off at 5:45. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so I am glad I'm a little bit past that. And can everyone hear? I just want to make sure. So message me if you make sure that you can hear us, because I can see all your comments. Oh, Steve Martin. Yeah, we're talking 80s music. You know we are. Hi, Maggie. So, FSU, my son's at Florida. It's still crazy to have them go off to college.
Absolutely. I'm not looking forward to it, but she wanted to fly the coop and not go to UCF, not follow in my footsteps, and so she's...
My kids didn't either.
Yep, she wants to get out of Dodge.
Well, she's got to spread her wings.
Absolutely, I understand.
She's an amazing kid. She's not really a kid anymore.
No, she's... I was blessed. She's very active with with my church, and she's an actor in the choir there. She had to grow up early, and we'll talk a little bit about that. She had to become like a second mom figure to my twins when she was only 12, 13 years old. So
she did.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We'll talk a little bit of business, and then we'll get into what he's referencing now with Madison and the twins. So David is a realtor with Keller Williams, Lake Nona office, right? Who is the broker? Leo?
Well, the broker is Lori Terrell.
Lori, that's right, Lori.
And then
Sorry, Lori.
Dave Chubb's our team leader, fantastic team leader.
I love that office.
Yeah, we've got a great environment, great group down there, and I love it. So.
And he obviously does really well because he's paying for my lunch today. He doesn't know it yet.
No problem.
I'm kidding. And I do mortgages. I'm supposed to announce that every single time on the show. Somebody keeps yelling at me going, a lot of people say, we still don't know what you do, Ted. So let's talk about mortgages today. Mortgages, that's enough of that.
There we go.
All right, so about, how long has it been? 7, 8 years? I'll give a little bit of the history, right?
April 9th, 2009 is when I got sick.
Wow, April 9th, 2009. So David got sick, and he'll tell you a little bit about that, a lot about that actually, because I think it's important from a couple of perspectives. First of all, for me, it was so crazy to see him go through it, but it changed his perspective on business and on life, I think. I mean, how could it not?
Absolutely.
So go ahead and start with the story and tell us, and then I'll pipe in when I need to.
Well, I'm going to do the Reader's Digest version. Anybody that knows me knows me. I've got the gift of gab, so I'll talk way past.
You're on the right show for that.
Yeah, way past the time period that allowed for that. April 9th, 2009, I was going to the beach with my family, and got to the condo and reached in the back. We were going for Easter weekend. Got to the back and reached for a piece of luggage, and I had a seizure. It went down. I don't remember anything from that. Woke up in the hospital. And long story short, after being over in Flagler County at the hospital and then over here in Orlando, I was diagnosed with liver disease. I had something called hemochromatosis, which we're not going to go into that at all, but it damaged my liver. And they hoped that it would regenerate. The liver is the only organ that will regenerate itself. They hoped over time that it would regenerate itself. And so from April to December of that year, of 2009, they were treating it, trying to hope it would regenerate. In December of 2009, doctors up at Shands told me, it's not working, we're going to have to get you listed for a transplant. So it's kind of scary. Well, it was very scary.
That's so scary.
So
what's the process on that? So you get listed, but that's not really just it. You just don't put your name in a hat or a bowl.
It's pretty intense. You go through a lot of screening, both to make sure your body can handle a transplant, to make sure you've got the support to handle the beforehand and after effects of having a transplant, the financial aspects. You go through mental health screening, which I'm quite.
How'd you pass that?
I was going to say I'm not sure.
I'm not really sure.
The craziest thing is the question this psychologist asked me is, what's your biggest fear of this surgery? I'm like, I'm going to go with dying.
Yeah, I think dying would be the number one.
Dying's number one. But so that would happen in December, and I got listed in February of 2010. And periodically was in the hospital. So from April 9th, 2009 to until the day I had my transplant, I was in the hospital 75 days on and off, and I was in 5 different hospitals around the state. A lot of fun. I give all the props to my wife for spending nights there, working all day at Universal, then coming and spending the night.
Vicky's an angel.
Having my kids were, this is where we talk about my daughter having to grow up at 12 years old. I would be fine in the morning, and then something would happen. I wouldn't be feeling well, and they would ship me to Gainesville, or they'd ship me to a Florida hospital. So she would go to school and come out, and I'd be in the hospital, so she'd have to go with whoever was picking the kids up, friends of the family, my mom.
Wow.
So
it's a lot for a teenager.
Yeah, it is.
Any child.
And then so the catalyst and the big days, which we're going to wrap it all up. I went to the hospital August 16th, 2010. That was I was feeling really sick. I've been feeling okay on and off, but August 16th was pretty bad. And August 30th, 2010 is probably, I would say, that it's the day that I remember the most. And that is a day the doctors came in and said, we're going to discharge you. And I was really curious. I was concerned because I was feeling worse than I'd ever felt. And my doctor said something to me like, yeah, we're discharging you now. You need to go home and get your life in order.
Yeah.
You have 30 days to live if you don't get a transplant. when a doctor says that to you, that's pretty, that'll really make you take a deep swallow. So I went home, but I was still trying to be active. I wasn't telling people. I never told my father, who lives in Louisiana, how bad I was. I didn't want people to worry about me. For the most part, I didn't. I internalized it. So that whole week I was working on things, and I every day getting up and going to work and taking care of the kids. And one thing about liver disease, it reverses your body clock. I was up all night every night, and I was asleep all day during the day. Excuse me. And I remember I was online on Friday night talking to Kelly Stonebreaker, who's with Exit Realty. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And she was asking me why I was up so late. And I was telling her I never slept, and asked her why she was up so late. And she was at the hospital with a friend. And
Kelly Stonebreaker, right?
Kelly Stonebreaker.
So this is a really interesting, awesome part of the story. So really listen up, because this is a thing that talks about how, depending on your faith, God works in awesome ways, and your connections and the people that you meet and the people that you impress and the people that you touch can come back and touch your life. So talk about that.
So Kelly and I were just talking on Facebook, that night, and she asked, what I was on the transplant list for, and I told her, and we just conversed for a little bit, and I got up, and the next morning I actually went to work for a while, and went to a friend of mine has a sports bar, and I went there to watch a little bit of the first Florida game of the year. Left there, went home. I was on the way home when Vicky called, and my wife called and said, "Where are you at?" And I told her, and she said, "You need to get home. We've got the call." And that was the first time it really hit me how serious this was. I remember driving down I-4 and started to tear up, because this is at that point I knew, I was either going to be alive or dead the next day.
So what was the call? Tell them. It was a call.
The call was, "Hey, we've got an organ for you. We've got it. It's time to get to the hospital, and we're going to see if this organ works." A lot of people don't know this, but you'll get a call, and when you're listed, some people will get the call. They'll get to the hospital. They do all the prep work up to the point of going into surgery, and the doctors determine that the organ that you're going to receive is not viable.
Right.
It doesn't fit for you. So you've gone through that whole emotional, upheaval, and they say it's not going to happen. So we got the call, and I remember driving down I-4, getting upset, and getting emotional, getting to my house, and my mom and stepfather were there to pick up my kids. I grabbed Vicky, and we went to our church and got a blessing by our priest. We're driving to the hospital, and got to the hospital about 5 o'clock, and they started doing the prep work. And in the time period between 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock, I started calling friends, and I called you. And
I did.
Yeah, I called a bunch of friends. I try not to get emotional about this.
You should.
Yeah, but I called a bunch of friends to say, thank you, and I love you, and I hope I talk to you tomorrow. So my surgeon came in at about 10 or 10:30 that night, and we got through the whole procedure. He told me it was going to happen the next morning, and the words he said were, "So you know your donor?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And he goes, "Yes, you do." And while it being my friend Kelly Sue, who was a good friend of hers, her husband, that had an aneurysm and was passed away, and they talked about it. Kelly talked to them, and they made the decision to donate the organs directly to me. It's called a directed donation. I was number one in the region, so they're having the communication there is what saved my life. I was my donor's family. They were not listed as organ donors at the time, and I obviously forever grateful to them. And I kept on after the transplant, kept on writing letters and trying to reach out to them. And I would never break their confidence, because I understand why it's a confidential thing.
Sure.
Because I knew where they lived. I knew who my donor was, and every day I wanted to knock on their door and tell them thank you and God bless you. But I couldn't do that because they would have, they weren't ready to talk. And so I waited and I sent messages off. And 3 years ago, coming up on 4 years ago in December, I got a piece of mail, and I recognized the address. And it was from my donor's wife, and it was a great letter. And she told me at that point, she goes, "We weren't organ donors. I was upset. My husband passed away. My best friend and husband passed away. And here's somebody asking me to help somebody else. And I was angry. I didn't want to do it. But my daughter told me we should do this. And she said my daughter is now in Florida at school, and when she comes back for Christmas break, I think it would be an amazing thing for her to meet.
Oh, got chills.
So that Christmas 3 years ago, we met, and it's become a good friendship. So I think my thing now is talking about organ donation, the mysteries and the questions people have, and that's my purpose now is on one side, not the business side, but my personal side.
Sure. Well, I think, so honestly, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gives me the chills talking about that. I mean, if you hadn't had that conversation with Kelly, who's a realtor, who's in the community, and doesn't the realtor community have a emergency kind of, isn't that how it sort of all happened? Don't you have something where you guys can kind of help other realtors out?
Well, not so much like a network. It's a more of a social network, through personal relationships.
But what if that's the amazing thing. So you had the conversation, and if you hadn't, then you would have just been on the list like everyone else.
Right.
I didn't even know there was direct donor.
Yeah, it's called
ability.
a directed donation.
Directed
and
donation.
It's not like they could have said, "Hey, we're going to give it to somebody who's way down the list," because there are priorities. I was number one in the area, so if they had decided to be donors anyway, it most likely would have come to me anyway.
Right.
But if somebody is very high on the list, you can't just jump and be somebody that's
But every day makes a difference that you go without it.
Absolutely.
So the fact that expedited it, even in the littlest bit, could make the difference. I'm not trying to be dramatic, people. I'm serious. This is how serious it was. So
I was pretty damn sick.
It was sick. Yeah, he called me. I forget when it was. It was before this, thank God. But you called me and said you have to come to the hospital, and I'm on my way. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going there to say goodbye. Most saddest, depressing hospital visit I've ever been to.
Sorry.
No, because I didn't realize until on the way over. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go visit David, and I'm not going to bring anything. Like, I didn't even think about it because I didn't realize the severity of the situation. Again, that's a testament or I want to kill you kind of moment where you're like, oh God, I'm walking into it, and I don't realize what you're walking into because you kept it to yourself, and the family knew, but nobody else really kind of knew how serious it was.
You put on here, you said something about faith and how, however your faith is lining up. I look at a couple things that happen there. One is the Kelly Sue and my donor family. I also look at, when I got sick, the day I got sick, I was 5 minutes before I had my seizure, I was on I-95 with my entire family driving 80 miles an hour. If things, I had somebody looking over me a lot.
You do, absolutely. So, fast forward.
Right.
So you go through the surgery, you come out, how long's the surgery been? Where are we at?
I'm at 7 years next month.
So 7 years is amazing. You still have a regimen at 19 pills a day. I mean, you have things that you have to do that people don't realize. You don't just get a new organ and all of a sudden you're good as new.
No.
You're as good as you possibly can be with a foreign object in your body.
Sure.
So you take the 19 pills, but it changed your perspective on family, on life, and everything else. So tell them a little bit about that.
Well, I look at it before. I've been in business for 25 years, or 24 years, and always hustled. My philosophy was I'm going to work. And before my transplant, I would miss things. I would miss. My son's very active in baseball. All my kids are very active in church and baseball and volleyball and drama. But I would miss things because somebody would have an appointment. They want to, we've got to see this house now, or we've got, this is the only time we can do this. The only time we can meet you for a listing. And now my calendar is very specific, and I've color coded my calendar, and my kids go, and my family go first. I color coded it red, and red, stoplight. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you are. It's not going to interfere with that time because my priorities have changed. I tell people that before I had my transplant, I was a good dad, a good friend, and a good husband. I said, but this just made me want to be forevermore, a great dad, a great friend, a great husband. And I can't be a great dad if I am missing stuff. If I'm missing stuff just to go make $1. So I'll miss out on a dollar. It'll be part of what they're doing, part of their lives, part of their activities.
Don't you think that's epidemic right now? Like, all of us feel like we're constantly going 24/7, and we're trying to get the prize at the end, and we're missing all of this stuff as we're going along.
Absolutely. But to me, it's cathartic and it's relieving. The first time, I'm not saying go out and fire buyers or fire sellers, but I remember specifically when I got back to work. It was the spring of 2011. I took 6 months off after the transplant. Spring of 2011, I got a call from somebody that wanted to list his house. He'd be given my name. He called me and I said, "I'd be happy to see you at this time or this time." He goes, "No, Friday night." And I made the mistake. I told him, that's my daughter's first volleyball game. And it's no business if there's what my appointment is.
Correct.
But I said it's my daughter's first volleyball game, and he goes, "Your daughter will have other volleyball games. That's the time I have."
Oh man!
I said, "Sir, we are not going to get along, and I appreciate you. Wish you the best of luck." And I hung up on him. This is for an $850,000 listing.
Wow.
So I look at that, at $25,000, I just threw away. It was worth every penny just to set. That's where I'm at.
Well, because if he's that way up front, which we talk about this a lot, if you've got somebody who's so demanding up front, the rest of the transaction is going to be just as demanding or worse.
Absolutely.
So then you have to make that decision, which you did, is that family is more important. And sometimes even if there's no family involved, you still don't want to have to deal with that particular borrower or lister. I mean, I preach that all the time. Just, you got to find the people that you can work with, because if that person you can't work with, there's a million other people behind them.
Absolutely.
It still doesn't mean that it didn't hurt that you couldn't get that $24,000 commission.
Absolutely.
But it's still such a great thing that you were able to do that. Oh, good. People can hear us.
Good.
Everybody's saying hello. Hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, buddy.
I want to notice I wore my only shirt that I could do this with my cuffs.
Oh, yeah, we have to talk a little bit about that. So show them your cuffs, right? So I got my cuffs. Thanks, Steve Martin, for the Paisley comment. Yeah, we got Paisley on. But look at this. Dave Fraser actually has rolled up.
I only wore this just for
Dave Fraser. My bad. Dave Fraser. 35 years in the making. You guys have asked some great questions. Let me see if I can go back up here. Saw them, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit behind. Oh, look, everybody thinks your story is amazing.
Great.
Look, Misty Cabinets, thank you for that. I'm going to see you at 2 o'clock. So Carrie Hendrickson said, my cousin's son, who's 18, is in Florida hospital waiting for a heart transplant for the past 3 months.
God bless him.
Our prayers are for the people hearts to be softened toward this cause. Thank you for sharing David's story.
Thank you. And and one thing I'll talk about, and I appreciate that, and I'll say a prayer for your nephew. His nephew? Mm-hmm. Let your family know what your thoughts are on organ donation. That's one that I talk all over the state about organ donation. And the key is, it's a time of turmoil when something bad happens. God forbid something happens. It's a time of turmoil. And if you haven't let your wishes know, it's known. It's a time of turmoil. God forbid something were to happen to you, and Stacy's sitting there devastated and having to worry about it. Now, how much better off would she be if you had told her beforehand, Stacy, if I'm in this position,
correct,
I want to donate. So there's no question in her mind what your thoughts and wishes were.
It takes a burden off the people who are having to make the medical decisions for you.
You're giving a gift to your loved ones.
Selfless. It's actually a selfless thing. Yeah, you're giving them a gift.
Yeah.
And if you just make that decision, just put it in writing somewhere. You can do it verbally, but I think writing's better. It's like a couple of sentences. You don't have to make a giant, huge legal thing signed off by 400 people.
You can go on to donatelife.org and
tell them the site again.
Donatelife.org, and there'll be a link there so you can go and register to be an organ donor. And when you're in the hospital, if God forbid you have this position and you're in the hospital, they and the staff can actually pull it up and say, here is their wishes. Because, who knows, let's not be negative, but if a husband and wife are in a car accident and their kids get there.
Correct.
The kids might not know what their wishes are, so they can pull it up and say, here were their wishes.
Right.
Let me help you out and make that decision.
Right. I mean, nobody in science is going to want my organs, but I am an organ donor. I mean, it's a thought that counts, perhaps. Anyway, so I have enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
it went by so fast. We're way past our 15 minutes, by the way. And if you guys ask questions, which I think you did, I'll forward them to David, and we'll try to get those answered. My producer, Charnel, came over and gave me the 15-minute mark about 10 minutes ago, so we're way over time. So I am going to ask David Thank him again. Thank you.
All right, thanks, bye.
Love you, man.
Love you, man.
Love you. And sorry, Rusey, next time. Hit the finish button. Love you guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.